This is special. I just want to start by saying this is the highest award, the most memorable award, the most prestigious award anybody in my profession can receive. And I am so honored to get it. I want to start by thanking Jane Forbes Clark, the chairman of the Hall of Fame, the Frick Award voting committee for this honor, to my new friend Paul Hoynes, Hoynesy as I now call him. Congratulations from all the Bucks for your incredible body of work. I want to thank and congratulate Rick Monday, my longtime friend. This country needs more men like Rick Monday who acted decisively and followed through on his beliefs. And then to the beautiful, wonderful, amazing Bill White, who my dad absolutely adored. They got to work together on CBS Radio, and if my dad adored him, that's good enough for me. So Bill, it's an honor to share the stage with you. It is hard for me to do something like this and not make it all about my dad, but I'm going to try. With apologies to Lou Gehrig, I want to take the next 10 minutes to try and convince you that I am indeed the luckiest man on the face of the earth, at least when it comes to calling this great game into a microphone. Lucky in many ways. I was in the crowd in 1987 when my father, Jack Buck, was given this Ford C. Frick Award. I was 18. That's 39 years ago, and my seatmates that day are here with us this afternoon, and more on them in just a second. I'd never heard of Ford C. Frick, but I saw the look on my father's face when he found out that he was receiving it, and I saw the immense pride that my dad had as he stood on that stage. Back then, they did it during the main induction ceremony in front of the Hall of Famers, and talked about the honor he felt being the eyes and ears of Cardinal fans when he sat in the best seat in the house and told them how their team was doing that day or night. And that's really where my story began, doing the same thing for those fans as I sat next to my dad and Mike Shannon. It actually began 2 years prior to that in Louisville, AAA, calling the Louisville Redbirds with my great friend Jim Kelch, the lead announcer, who was the perfect partner to a then 19-year-old who was learning what it took to do baseball day after day and give it your best. That quickly led to, thanks to nepotism and the novelty of having Jack Buck's kid call Cardinal games, what I consider to be the best gig in the business. Hired by Mike Rorty, Anheuser-Busch, and the ball club, I got my baptism by fire at 21 years old. It was my own little personal game of Monopoly as I got to pass go and leapfrog over many people who were broadcasting in the minor leagues who were far more qualified to call big league baseball than I was at that stage in my life. Believe me, I felt the guilt back then. I heard the criticism. Weirdly enough, I still feel the guilt and I still hear the criticism to this day. But I'm leaving that on this stage today when I walk out of here. I learned to navigate my way as a young person in this business and then as a young father. When I talk about being lucky, I'm speaking about many things, not just my profession and what I get to do for a living. I mean, yes, I've been incredibly fortunate, but I became the luckiest person when I became a father. Father to Natalie Elizabeth Buck in 1996, and then 3 years later to Trudy Kathleen Buck. Not only was I a new dad in 1996, but I was also, after 2 years of doing the NFL on Fox and working for the great David Hill, given the chance to be their lead voice covering Major League Baseball. David, Ed Gorin, John Filippelli gave me that chance and gave me their vote of confidence every day, every year. There is nothing better or more important for a young announcer in the high-stakes game of network television like knowing you have the trust of the people who are your bosses, and I knew I had it. It makes you impenetrable to the slings and arrows of the Rudy Martzkis of the world, if you know, you know, and the latter-day Rudys on Twitter. Our first year was 1996, the beginning of the Yankees' run under the great Joe Torre, a Hall of Famer I first met in our house in the 70s at a poker game that my dad had arranged when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Flash forward, there I am sitting in his office in October of 1996, asking him questions about Derek Jeter and the Core Four, with Don Zimmer on his couch listening, probably thinking, who the hell is this kid? With Tim McCarver next to me. What a gift Tim McCarver was to my career and to my life. He gave me, yes, please, applaud. He's a Hall of Famer. He gave me instant credibility, and he didn't have to. I loved him. He had done 2 years at CBS with my dad a handful of years earlier, and now here I was acting like a big shot, calling him Tim instead of Mr. McCarver under the bright lights of national postseason baseball. His daughter Kathy is here. His grandson Bo Root is here. He was so proud of both of them, and I'm proud that they're here for me today. I loved Tim McCarver. Can't tell you how much that means to me. But here's where the divide in my career and my father's career, as far as I'm concerned, happened. And this is why I will walk off this stage proud of myself as a Ford Frick Award winner from the Hall of Fame. While my dad was predominantly the eyes and ears for Cardinal fans, I became that for Fox Sports. I was given that responsibility, and it was heavy at times, but my God, it is the best job and the most fun you can have in this business, in any sport. Broadcasting the World Series, the MLB All-Star Game, there is nothing better than that. My opportunity knocked at the perfect time in 1996. Yankees won also in 98. And they're back. They're back on the map if they ever left, but they hadn't won in a while. 2001 World Series, and the weight of a heartbroken city and country after the attacks of 9/11 and the first pitch by President Bush, still one of the most powerful moments I've ever seen on a sporting field. The Diamondbacks winning it all in 7 on a walk-off hit against Mariano Rivera. 2002, the year my dad died, in June, when ironically the Angels were in St. Louis, and then months later, there they are winning it in a thrilling 7-game series. I won't go year by year, but I'll talk about a curse that was broken in 2004, an 86-year-old one, and I got to remind the nation that Red Sox fans had longed to hear that their team had won it all. The White Sox the following year with almost flawless pitching and timely hitting. My Cardinals, yes, I said that, my Cardinals, winning in 2006 and again in 2011. When I got to tip my cap to my dad and use his line from 20 years earlier. And then a few years later, 108 years after they had last won the World Series, this St. Louis kid got to scream that the Cubs had finally won it all into a microphone. Am I lucky? Yes, I am. Because sitting in this crowd is my beautiful wife, Michelle Beisner-Buck, who I adore, and who I work with at ESPN. And as a little diversion from my prepared speech, right behind her is my partner, now at ESPN, but for 25 years in the NFL booth, the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. And it means the world that you're here with me right now. But sitting to the right of my wife are our boys, Blake and Wyatt, who absolutely light up our lives. What an unexpected present from heaven those 3 people have been to me and to our entire family. Our boys will have their chance to find their own halls of fame with whatever they do in life. My son-in-law, Bobby Chapchak, who was the perfect husband to my Natalie and will be a tireless father someday. His cousin, Connor Neiman, who was my baby girl, Trudy, with my baby girl, Trudy, and has made her so happy, and consequently us so happy. My mom, who's right in the center of this thing as I'm looking out here, who is the biggest reason why I am up here, and who I sat with in 1987 honoring my dad. Carol Linsnick Buck, and I'm using Linsnick today, Mom, don't get mad. You are the rock of this family. You covered for so much for our traveling father and did so unselfishly. My sister Julie, yes, Carol Buck, yes. My sister Julie, who has gone from my sparring partner to my best friend and confidant. She knows where my bones are buried, and I couldn't do any of this without her. Her husband Jeff and their boys Matt, Jack, and Ben, I thank them for their love and for being here. Steve Horn, sitting next to Troy. He's my quote-unquote editorial consultant, a term that we just made up because you can't really describe what he does. I stole him from Costas. He made me better every game, and he gave me his knowledge unselfishly. He is brilliant, and the perfect partner to hit the road with. My dad told Steve when he started working with me in 1996 to quote unquote take care of his pup. Steve has done that and more. We've laughed all over this country together, week after week, sport after sport. I've worked with and for great human beings. Eric Shanks, my boss and friend for many years at Fox, his top lieutenant, Brad Zager, who made work fun. Judy Boyd, Jacob Ullman, the best of the best. Production people, the two greatest directors this sport has ever known, in my opinion, Bill Webb and Matt Gangle. They knew where my mind was going and my words were leading before I did. I never had to overtalk because they told the story with their talent and the pictures they chose. Game producers, I mentioned Flip, then the genius of Michael Weissman, who was one of one, and finally Pete Macheska, a sweet man who is literally the most underrated producer in television sports. He is here as well, and it means so much to me that he drove down from Saratoga. Probably saved him money, as he was going to bet on horses today, but he's here with us instead. He is in the category of people I dearly miss seeing every October. He finished producing baseball, and the game will miss him. Aaron Stoikov will take over and do great with his own spin on how to present the game. Brian Biederman, Wayne Fiddleman, thank you for all you helped me with. The MLB crew was always so good to me. The commissioners during my time, both Bud and Rob, felt like allies, and I didn't take that for granted. Their crew of Tim Brosnan and Bernadette McDonald, my man Chuck Torres, Phyllis Marriage, thank you. Our PR staff at Fox was working overtime for my benefit, and I thank them for that and their friendship. Dan Bell, Lou D'Amelio, Vince Wadika, Ileana Pena, Eddie Model, we had a lot of fun. In the booth, I had Tim, who I mentioned, Bob Brenly, who joined us in the postseason, Tom Verducci and Harold Reynolds, then Hall of Famer John Smoltz. On the field, I had Kenny Rosenthal with his little bow ties and volumes of information he worked so hard to get. Every one of them made me a better baseball announcer. All were great partners who listened and laughed and shared their knowledge with no hesitation. I consider all of them close friends who know what it feels like when that red light comes on and it's time to go to work. We had such a blast. People ask me if at 57 years old I miss doing it. Of course I do. But everything comes at a cost. The time away adds up, as Paul was talking about. And at the end of the day, I just want to be home. And I don't take that feeling for granted. That's thanks to Michelle and to my boys and to my girls. Oh, and the job is in great hands at Fox with my friend Joe Davis. Here's what I don't miss. Being accused of rooting against every team by rabid fans who just want their boys to win. I get it. It's emotional. Fans are fans. When I showed up in the booth, I had to get excited for every home run, not just their teams. Fans don't hear games like that all year from their home announcers. So it makes sense, but I'm a pleaser. I want everybody to love me. That's not possible. The faster you figure that part out, the more fun this job is. But yes, I was chased into my Boston hotel by Red Sox fans coming out of a bar called the Beantown Pub. They were sure I was in the bag for the Yankees. I was yelled at outside Wrigley Field as a Cardinal lover. I was booed at Shea. I was booed at Dodger Stadium. Heck, Cardinal fans, some of them think I don't like the Cardinals. Life is so hard, isn't it? Wah. But there are also the touching moments. Like the time in San Francisco after a big playoff game when a little boy and his father stood beneath the booth yelling for me to look down as I was packing my backpack after a big Giants win in an NLCS game. Of course, I made that little boy's day as I looked over the edge of the booth at he and his father simply giving me the finger. The look of pride on that dad's face is a look I'll never forget. And so, now, from this stage, on this day, to those two people somewhere walking the earth, I say, back at ya. Anyway, here's what I do miss. The feeling just before the first pitch of a Pedro Martinez classic at Yankee Stadium in a Game 7, wondering, what are we about to see tonight? Yankees-Red Sox battles into the wee hours of the morning. The core four, the idiots of the Red Sox, Kevin Millar and Terry Francona holding that group together. McGuire and Sosa in that ride in 1998. The dominant Josh Beckett of the Marlins in 2003. Bruce Bochy and his calm before big games, and his horse Madison Bumgarner. Joe Madden and the Cubs and having drinks after games at Murphy's Bleachers, and a who's who of Cubs fans all there to celebrate their team because they just love baseball. Vedder and Murray and Cusack and Hunt and Chelios and Sutcliffe and Kerry Wood. What a room. What a time. I miss the Cardinals of the 90s, my buddy Todd Zeal, my friend Stan Royer, card games in their hotel rooms. As far as the game is concerned, I miss managers going with their gut. I miss pitching matchups. I miss sacrifice bunts. I miss getting them on, getting them over, getting them in. Broadcasts that don't talk about launch angle, spin rate, or OPS plus. Hey, what can I say? I'm no longer the young kid. I'm older now, a total get off my lawn guy who remembers all that stuff and is convinced the game was way better way back then in like 2016. But the game moves on. I moved aside and the game passed me by, and that's okay. I'm proud that I guided my network through the end of the 90s and the first part of the 21st century on national TV, night after night, year after year. I called big moments that needed a stamp on them, and I always tried my best. It took work, time, and courage at a young age and for every year after. I'm so proud of what I and what we did. And I'm proud to win this award on behalf of my family who made every one of these moments possible with their love and encouragement, and who have made me, as far as I'm concerned, the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Thank you.